The conditions are set up. It is us who choose to make our conscious decisions based upon what we do. The same when Yeshua was led to the desert by God. And all of these things were put before him. A lot of people say, oh, the devil did that. But he was led to the desert by God. So the dual component said, all of these things I will give unto you if you will fall down and worship me. And he chose the righteous component of himself. And then that's when God said, this is my son, within whom I am well pleased. He chose the God that was within him and not his demonic side. And in the process of submitting, he did not become a convert unto himself. And therefore, he didn't become a narcissist. He still gave the Creator all of the credit and the praise. That's to humbling yourself. That area of video, few people were asking me about that. The dual component that lives within all of us, because we, as I said before, were created by a God in which has a dual essence. As I always said, it says in the Word, I created peace, I created war. I created good, I created evil. I, the Lord, created all these things. This is the Creator taking claim of creating both entities of good and evil, which is created and therefore imbued in every living human being and every animal. There was a woman, and also brother has said, Jesus was perfect. And you know, the term perfect needs to be utilized very, very carefully, because none of us, in fact, knows what perfection is in regards to the organism. You're never going to find it of the organism. And I say that because in spite of the moral status that Yeshua was currently, the Creator still saw fit and necessary for Yeshua to be led to the desert, therefore the wilderness, to be tempted. Now, just to use the term perfection in the content that is always being utilized, anything that is considered or deemed as perfect, obviously there is no necessity to put it through any type of test in terms of tempting it one way or the other. There's no necessity. However, Yeshua obviously still had some areas of his being in which needed to be challenged. I won't use the word tested like so many of us use. And the reason why I never use the word tested is because the Creator is the all-knowing and the all-wise. So let's just say, when we were coming up in school, we were given information to take home and study. And our teachers would tell us, you're going to have to accumulate this information because you're going to be tested on this information in a couple of days or next week or whatever the case may be. So the teacher is not in the position to where he or she knows exactly who's going to pass this test or not, because the teacher are not the all-knowing and the all-wise in terms of their students. So when I used to hear a lot of pastors say that Yeshua was led to the desert to be tempted of Satan or tested, they would sometimes use the word tempted in the same content of implying that Jesus had to be tested. Okay? So the reason why I bring that up is because the Creator is the all-knowing and the all-wise. And therefore, to say that the Creator led Yeshua to the desert in order to be tested is to imply that the Creator did not know if Yeshua was going to be successful in this challenge or not. So basically what I'm saying, the same way that the Creator had observed Adam, and after it had created everything on the earth, and it said that this is good. However, when he observed Adam and he saw the state that Adam was in, so obviously Adam was lonely or Adam was sad, something that the Creator saw with Adam, to where the Creator had saw that, but it is not good that man should be alone. So bring that up because obviously the Creator had observed Yeshua as a human being and saw that there was something going on in him, which was the dual in which every human being is created. And so he had to be led by the Creator to the wilderness, to the desert, to be tempted. Now, a lot of people may say to be tempted by Satan. As I said before, we were created as dual components from a Creator, which contains a dual essence. So, due to the fact that the Creator knew this of Yeshua, who was a human being, he had to go through a process. He had to go through a process So when he was in the wilderness or the desert, a whole lot of worldly things was presented to him. They said that he had fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. And then the tempter had came to him, which is starvation, the effects of starvation. While he was at his physical weakest point, here comes starvation. And it triggers, it transmits certain thoughts to your head. And I'm going to deal with that in a personal experience tonight. And so Yeshua was hungry. And therefore, after 40 days and 40 nights, he was starving. And so the dual component that lived inside of him had said, if you be the Son of God, turn these stones into bread. Now, a lot of people, they say, and a lot of pastors, I've heard a lot of pastors teach it, that Satan has showed up as a man and stood before him and said, if you be the man of God, then turn these stones into bread. I disagree. There's no reason for a manifestation of this mystical character named Satan to stand above him, who was starving, and said, if you be the Son of God, turn these stones into bread and eat. Wasn't necessary, because Yeshua had a dual component that was implying that inside himself. So the challenge was, am I going to stay on this righteous path, or am I going to fail in this challenge? Am I going to fail in this challenge? Am I going to wait on the Lord, the Father, to come and give me something to eat? So currently, he said, man shall not live by bread alone, but out of every word out of the mouth of God, however it's said. Yeah, I know. Well, you know, he didn't even say it right. Go ahead and be petty. Go ahead. My whole implication of my particular videos is to simplify what has been taught in the church, and it's been taught in the church in such a way, it's been taught such a clever way, to where a whole lot of people are fooled. They were manipulated. So the point is, he waited. And after starvation had left, and he survived the time of the challenge, only then did the Creator say, he claimed him, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. I am well pleased. Only then was he ready. He was at his lowest point in terms of his organism, and he still rejected. He still rejected help. And so after that, it is written that after that, God sent angels to minister to him. That doesn't imply that they were preaching to him. To minister to him, it meant that some people had came. God had sent some people with food and everything, and they took care of him. They nursed him back to health. In comparison to this, when I was in Georgia, and I was dealing with this woman, as I said before, under the name Salam Yilma, I had gotten to the point to where I wasn't able to take care of myself. I wasn't even able to buy food. So by her knowing this, she took all of the food out of the refrigerator and took it upstairs to her bedroom. She put it in this cooler that she had. And so there was a time I went for 2 days without eating. It had gotten to the point to where the tempter had came to me, which was my own demonic dual component, and said, why don't you just go up to one of these grocery stores and just steal you something and eat, feed yourself. I even went to the point to where I looked up Google, and what I looked up was the time that you would have to serve in Georgia if you got caught shoplifting. I was so hungry, I was starving so bad, I was willing to risk my freedom by way of the possibility of being caught shoplifting in Georgia. I looked it up, and it said that you would have to serve 1 year in jail in Georgia if you are caught shoplifting. So I was even willing to do that, to sit up in jail in Georgia for 1 year, simply because I almost gave in to the tempter, which is starvation, this demonic influence trying to influence me to go and steal, which was the demonic presence that is sitting up in me. Now people may say, well, it's because she took all of the food out of the kitchen. She took it upstairs. Well, that's equivalent to someone saying the devil made me. No. She didn't come in contact with me and say, why don't you go up to the store and steal you something to eat, because I'm not giving you anything to eat. Even if she did, the conscious decision to do so would have been me, not her. So I suffered through that, and I was going halfway into the third day of not having anything to eat. And so what had happened was I would get up early in the morning and I would walk, I would say, up to 5.5 miles to this area outside of the store, which is called, it was a tool store, Lowe's. And in the parking lot, there was a lot of brothers that were always standing around waiting for people to come with their trucks to take them to do some work for them, and they would pay you like $50 to $60 a day That way you can get something to eat. So I walked 5.5 miles. I spent up to 5.5 hours over there, and I wasn't successful in being. So as I was on my way walking back, I still had this mindset of, hey, you know, you can't keep this up. You're going to have to do something to get you something to eat, because you can't go on like this. You can't go on like this. Now, my so-called rational mind had agreed with this transmission that was coming from my demonic side. You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to do something. And so my so-called rational understanding had agreed with that. Yeah, you're right. As I'm walking, my mind was saying, yeah, you're right. I'm going to have to do something. I'm just going to have to go ahead and risk walking in Kroger's or wherever out there to get me something to eat, because I can't go on like this. I was looking at my body. I was losing a whole lot of weight. And so as I was walking up the street, there was a Jamaican restaurant that was having a grand opening. So, and they were having a grand opening outside. And so as I kept walking up the sidewalk, this huge Jamaican brother, he saw me walking, and he said, brother. And I looked around, and I didn't think he was, I assumed he wasn't speaking to me. And the reason why I assumed that he wasn't speaking to me is because I was so consumed with grief and humiliation and hurt. I felt like, you can't be talking to me, because of the way that I was feeling. I didn't expect anything like this to transpire. And I looked at him. He said, yeah, you come here. So I went over to him, said, would you like a plate of food? He said, I'm having a grand opening here. He said, I want to give you a plate of food. So I was like, yeah. He said, don't worry about it, bro. And as I walked towards him, he put his arm around me, and he led me into the restaurant. There was people sitting outside eating. And when I went in there was a sister in there who was making everyone's plates. And what I noticed about this brother, those styrofoam containers, they had three sizes, small, medium, and large. I noticed he grabbed the large one, and he told her, fill this up. He said, what do you want? And so I picked out what I wanted, and she filled it up, and he gave her a medium size. And he said, I want you to try some of this Jamaican food. And next time I see you, he said, tell me if you like it. So they already gave me a large container. So the medium container was food that he wanted me to try, which implied he knew that I never had any Jamaican food. Obviously, he heard my accent. My accent wasn't the Jamaican culture. And so he put it in a bag, and he handed it to me. And I said, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. He said, hold on. Along with that, he gave me this big 5 liter of Pepsi. He said, here, take this as well. And he walked me out, and we walked past everyone that was eating out there. And I turned around and I told him, I said, I really appreciate it because I'm going through something right now that I don't quite understand. And he said, brother, it's going to be okay. He said, don't worry about it. He said, don't worry about it. I bring this up is because when I was at my lowest point, and right when the tempter had came to me and told me, go ahead, you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to. You can't go on like this. The Creator inspired that man's eyes focus on me as I was walking. I was walking in the curve of the street. And the Creator inspired this man, flagged me down, and to do all of that for me. So this brother was the angel who came to me and he ministered to me. He took care of me. He took care of me. So my thing was, in bringing all of this up, is because I have to say that I failed because my mind, my so-called rational mind, became in harmony with the tempter who tapped into my starvation, who was my area of starvation inside. And it leaned mostly upon my demonic component and not my righteous component. However, as I was moving forward and I had made up my mind that I was going to side with that demonic presence that was sitting up inside of me, and I was just going to go and steal something that I may be able to survive, the Creator saw mercy on me and compassion on me. He sent this brother to me. And he saved me from myself. So the whole thing is, Yeshua was able to wait, and he didn't fall under the powerful influence of his demonic dual component inside of him, which was connected to his starvation after he fasted for 40 days, 40 nights. He said to that demonic presence, man shall not live by bread alone. So the reason why I said that I failed at, but the Creator showed mercy on me by sending this brother to me to show me, even though you failed and you were getting ready to risk your freedom, I understand your struggle. I understand your challenge. And so I'm sending this brother to you to give you food that you may not have to suffer so much because you were betrayed. And due to the fact that you were betrayed by her, you were put in the position to where you had betrayed self because you leaned upon the demonic presence inside of you, and you were tempted by way of starvation to compromise your moral standards. So this is why I said we are responsible for the conscious decisions that we make. The environment, the situation is cultivated around us by circumstances, whether they're good or bad. And despite what is presented to us in terms of the way that we perceive things within these circumstances, good, considered good or bad, whichever one of those we choose, it is still the direction that we made up our minds to consciously venture into. This is why in The Devil's Advocate, he said the direction that you took, in spite of the circumstances that was created, we are responsible for the decisions, for the conscious decision that we make. But imagine, I said 2 days, it was going on my third day. Imagine a man in the desert fasting 40 days, 40 nights, and still sided with his divine nature not to think and make up his mind in the way that I did. He said, man shall not live by bread alone. Incredible human being, incredible example. And this is why the Creator had to send Yeshua through that. And Yeshua submitted to go through that. I didn't submit to go through that. At that time, my mind was, this is her fault. She took all of the food out of the refrigerator, took it upstairs to her bedroom with the intent to starve me. However, whose responsibility is it to take care of this woman in spite of what she did? It's my responsibility. Yeah, what she did was evil. She could have showed mercy. She could have showed compassion, but she chose not to. And due to the fact that she chose not to show me any type of compassion or mercy, she still is not responsible for my thought process to go and risk my freedom to steal and possibly get caught and spend 1 year in jail for shopping. It's easy to blame someone else. And due to the fact that it's easy to blame someone else, that's what makes it dangerous. The ease of it is what makes it dangerous. We are responsible for what we decide to do in this life experience. The only devil and demonic force that is sitting up in that is in the world, it's sitting up inside of us. Take responsibility for the decisions that we make. Take responsibility for the conscious decisions that we make upon ourselves. I thank the Creator for showing me mercy and compassion when it sent that brother in my direction, because I was going down a very dark path because of the circumstance. And like I said to him, I'm going through something that I don't quite understand. I don't quite understand. And due to my current misunderstanding of what was happening to my life, you had better believe I was heading to jail. I was heading to jail. And the Creator knew that, even though I didn't know, because I was in a misunderstanding. And due to the fact that the Creator loved me so much, even in my misunderstanding, this is the reason why He sent that brother to save me from myself. So, for some of you who misunderstood when I was saying the dual component and that there was no devil manifested and showed him the world, all of these things I would do for you if you fall down to worship me. Falling down and worshiping your demonic side will lead you to either the grave or that jail that I was leading myself to. So basically what I'm saying is, when Yeshua was tempted by the tempter, he was tempted to do something unholy that he may be able to feed himself. However, as you already know, Yeshua waited on the Lord, waited on him. Now, when I was walking up those streets, was my mind as Yeshua's? I'm just going to wait on the Lord. Nope. My mind sided with my demonic. I'm going to go up here in one of these stores. I'm going to steal me something because I need to eat. That's where my mind was made up to do just that. And as I said before, the Creator had mercy upon me, compassion upon me. He sent that brother to save me from myself. So my whole implication is the way that that was presented to me. When I say there is no devil but us, because the conscious decisions that we make is based upon the dual essence of which we were created. As the Creator said, I created peace, I created good, and I created evil. I, the Lord, created all of these things, and we are an extension of the Creator. And so by the Creator being of an dual essence, so are we. It is us. So this demonic force, this devil, if you want to call it that, it's us. It can either be us or we can motivate ourselves and we can go by way of our divine essence instead of the demonic essence that is sitting up inside of us that's just going to destroy us, cause us to destroy ourselves. So this is why I say the only way that we are going to create a better world in which we are going to be able to live in, we have to become better